Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you all know that we have recently started our Android tutorial series and we have covered some of the basics of Android like text view, Android buttons and all. Some of the students told me that they don't have good hands-on Kotlin as they never used before and they don't know anything much about Kotlin and requested me to create one video on Kotlin. So today in this video I am going to show you what exactly is a Kotlin and how you can code in a Kotlin. So let's get started. Now we will discuss about the Kotlin in detail. So here this is the structure of Kotlin programming language. As you know that each programming language starts with the main function. Kotlin also starts with the main function. In this main function you can write println for printing the output on the screen. So here it is written like println hello world. Okay, so in the similar way you can write n number of println function and whatever the string which you want to print, that you have to write down in a double quotes. So here I am writing welcome to ABTech. Okay, so this is the way you can use the println function. Now let's discuss about the variables. As you all know that variable is a key part of any programming languages. So how to declare a variable, that we are going to see. So if you want to declare a variable, you just have to use a val keyword. Then you have to use the variable name. So let's say I am giving the name first name. This is my variable name, and then I will write colon, and after that I will write the data type. So here I am writing a string because I want to print the string. So here I will write, let's say ABTech. This is my string. Okay, so here the variable name is first name, the data type is string, and here I am writing the value ABTech. Okay, so if I want to print the value, I will use println function and I will write first name. Okay, so it will print my string. So this is one way of writing a variable. Now I have used here val. Now there are two keywords which you can use for the variables. One is a val and another one is a var. Okay, so I can create a variable with var also. So here I am writing last name colon string, and here I will write, let's say XYZ. This is my string. Okay, so the difference between both of them is like this. Just a minute, I will print the string first. So here I am printing first name and last name. So I wanted to tell you the difference between val and var. Once you define the val, any variable as val, so you cannot change the value of that variable. Okay, but if you are using a var, you can change the value of that variable. Okay, so you can consider this as val is a read only, whereas var is a read and write. So you can do both the operation. Okay, so it means if you are declaring any variable as a val, you cannot change the value, whereas if you want to if you are declaring any variable as var, you can change the value as much as you want. Okay, so that's the basic difference between var and val. Now Kotlin has a very important property which name is type inference. Okay, so type inference means what? You can declare the value, okay, and based on that value the data type will be automatically given to the variable. What does it mean? Let's say for example, if I want to use, let's say, middle name. So this is my variable name, and if I directly write the value here, let's say PQR is my value. So by type inference property, the data type of this will be automatically converted to string. Okay, so depending upon the value which you are giving, the type of that variable will be automatically converted. So that is what you call as a type inference. So that is a great property which Kotlin is having. So here also I am writing println and middle name. So this is the value I wanted to print. So here I will get the output PQR. So here the string will be automatically assigned to this variable, string data type. Okay, so in this way you can use any kind of a variable like val. Let's say I am giving weight. Okay, like I am writing like 40, and here I am writing like println and I am printing weight. So in this way I will get the value 40. So this integer data type will be assigned to this automatically. Okay, so you don't have to explicitly write down the data type every time. So that is a very good property which I can say about Kotlin. Now we will see about the operators. Okay, now we will talk about the operators. As you know that operators are a special symbol which performs the operation on a variables, right? So for example, if I create a variable here var a is equals to 10, here I am creating a var b equals to 20. So these are the two variables I am creating. Now by the type inference property which I have explained you earlier, the data type of this variable a and b will be automatically converted to integer. Okay, now I am creating a third variable c is equals to, and I am performing the addition of these two numbers a plus b. Okay, so here the addition will be performed, and if I try to print the value of c, if I try to print the value of C, it will give me the answer, the addition of these two numbers. Okay, oh, I'm sorry, I should not write dollar here. So here I will get the answer 30. Okay, so this is the way you perform the addition, and this is the binary addition. If you have the string like where name is equals to, let's say, AB, and we have one more variable where, let's say, name2 is equals to tech, and if I perform the addition, let's say where result is equals to name plus name2, and if I try to print it, println, here if I try to print the result, so what is the output I will get? I will get the output as a concatenation. Okay, so depending upon the type, the arithmetic operations prints the result. Okay, so you can do in the similar way, you can perform the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. If I want to perform the subtraction, let's say for example where C, let's say A1 is equals to 20, where B1 is equals to 30. Okay, so in the similar way I can perform the subtraction, let's say where R is equals to A1 minus B1. So in this way I can perform the subtraction. So all the arithmetic operators we can use it here the way we are using in other programming languages. So there is no much difference between this. So here 20 minus 30 will be minus 10. So this is the way you work on the operators. So all the operators you can use, like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, all the operators you can use in a Kotlin. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the string. As you all know that string is nothing but the sequence of characters. Okay, so there is a difference between character and string. The character is only going to be a single character, whereas string is going to be the collection of characters. So here I am having a string, hello world, this is a string. But if I talk about like this H is nothing but the character. Okay, this H is an individual character. You can call it as a E is an individual character. Okay, but if I write HE, then it becomes a string. Okay, so that is the basic difference between string and character. Now let's understand about the string. So let's say if I am creating a variable where, okay, and I am writing like first name, this is the string I am creating. Let's say this is the string I am creating, first name is equals to Amit. Okay, and if I want to print the character which is at first location, what I will do, println, here I will write first name of 0, because the string stores the data in the index. Okay, and this index starts with a 0. In Kotlin every string is stored in the form of an index. Okay, so again index starts with a 0, so that's why when I am writing first name of 0, so it will automatically print A, because on the 0th location we have the character A. So in the similar way, if I want to print T, what I will do, I will copy and paste it and I will just write 3 here. Okay, so this is the way string is always stored in a Kotlin. Okay, now Kotlin is having so many advantages as related to the string, because we have so many inbuilt string function which we can use in a Kotlin. For example, let's say if I want to find out the length. Okay, if I want to find out the length of the string, what I will do, println first name, which is the variable, I will just write variable name dot, when I will place a dot, I will get n number of methods which I can use. Okay, so if I want to find out the length, so here I will write length, we have an inbuilt function length which will calculate the length and it will print it. So if you can see, the length of the string is 4. Okay, in the similar way we can use another functions. Let's say println, we have first name dot, if we can see this, these are some of the methods which are ready-madely available. So here if I want to make it as capitalize, so what I will do, I will use a capitalize function, and if I try to run it, I will get the first letter as a capitalize. When you are using a capitalize function, the first letter will be a capitalize. Just check it. Here I am renaming it as Amit, and here A is small, but by using this first name property, we are making the first character as capitalized. So these are some of the methods which are available which you can use on the string. Okay, it's not related to string only. Even if you have the integer variable, let's say I am creating a variable, let's say var, and I am creating A is equals to 10. So this is the 10 value I am giving. Ultimately the data type of this variable is becoming A because of the type inference property. Now if I try to print it, print ln, and when I will write A dot, I will get all the methods which are related to integer also. Okay, so that is the biggest advantage which I have found about Kotlin. Okay, so this is how you normally use the string. Now one more thing which I would like to tell you is that most of the time what we need to replace the value of the variable. Okay, so that is the main point which I would like to focus here. Let's say for example I want to print like this, hello welcome Amit. This is the way I want to print. Okay, and the Amit value is stored in the first name variable. Okay, so how to print the values which is available in a variable, that I'm going to tell you now. Here what you need to write, println, and here you need to write hello welcome. Now what in front of this, what we need to do is we need to print this value of this variable. So the value of this first name variable is Amit. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to write it here dollar, and then I will write first name. So this is the way you can insert the value at a particular place. So here you will get the output, hello, welcome Amit. Okay, so this is how you work on the string. Now we will discuss about the flow control. Now what exactly is the flow control? So flow control in any programming language is like this. If you have a two different instruction and at a time only one instruction will be executed, so that kind of structure you can design using a flow control. Okay, so normally we use if else to control our workflow. So how to do that? Let's say I have a variable marks and I am having the marks as a 70. Okay, so if my marks are greater than 60, what I will do, I will println, I will write I am fast. Okay, and if my marks are less than 16, then else part will be executed and it will print I am failed. Okay, so likewise, you don't need to write semicolon here. So here I will print I am passed, and here I will print I am failed. Now these are the two instructions I am having right now. Out of these two instructions, only one instruction will be executed, and that will be dependent on the value of these marks. Okay, so this is how we control the flow. Now if you consider here the value of the marks variable is 70. Now here marks is greater than 60. This condition will be true because 70 is greater than 60. So only this instruction will be executed. This instruction will not get executed. Okay, but if my marks is 50, so this condition will be failed because 50 is not greater than 60. This is false. 50 is not greater than 60. So this is false. So we will get the false answer here. So whenever we will get the false answer here, else part will be executed, this part will not be executed. So at any given time, only one instruction is going to be executed, and that is going to be depend on this condition. Okay, so this condition, if this condition is true, this will be executed. If this condition is false, else part will be executed. Okay, so here you can use any kind of a operator like greater than equals to, less than equals to, any kind of operator you can use it here. Okay, so this is what exactly is the flow control. Now in this part we are going to discuss about the list. Now list is nothing but the collection. What exactly is the collection? Just look it here. Let's say we have multiple variables which we want to hold. Let's say var name1 equals to, let's say we have a variable name1 as a Rahul. Let's say we have to use another name like XYZ. This is the student. Let's say var name3 equals to pqr. Let's say we have the three students and we want to store the values of these three students. So every time creating a separate variable for separate value, it's not a feasible approach. So we have the collection. Now what is collection? Collection can hold all these three values at a together, okay, with a single variable name. So I will create a collection here. Let's say I am creating a names. This is my collection name, and here I will use a list of. This list of is a collection where we can make the use of the multiple values. So here I am writing list, and then I am writing list of. So here I can write like this, Rahul, then comma, it will be separated by comma, then XYZ, comma, then we can have PQR. Okay, so instead of creating three separate variables, what we can do is we can use the same variable name and we can store n number of values. So here I have used three values, but the variable name is single, that is names. Okay, now how to print these values? So if you want to print the value, let's say you want to print Rahul, what you will have to do is you will have to use println. Here what you will do, you will write names and its index. So as I told you earlier that Kotlin stores all the values with starts with a 0. Okay, so here if I write names of a 0, it will ultimately point to the 0th index, and the value at the 0th index is Rahul. So I will get the answer Rahul. Okay, just a spelling mistake which I normally do. So println. So here I will get the answer Rahul. In the similar way, if I want to print PQR, what I will do, I will write here 2. Okay, because it started with 0. So 0th location is Rahul. On month location we have XYZ, and on second location we have PQR. So in this way you can write down the collections. Okay, so now one more thing I would like to tell you about the collection is that these collections are by default immutable. Immutable means what? You cannot add or remove the data from the collection by default. Okay, so if I try to add like this, let's say I want to add one more name, let's say names dot add. If I try to add like this Amit, it will not get added, because by default this collection which we are creating, that is immutable. You cannot add or you cannot remove the data from this collection. Okay, so if you want to add some data later on, because and on the start part, if you don't know how many records will be there, so what you will need to do is you will need to create a immutable collection. Okay, so what we are going to do now is we are going to create the list which is going to be a immutable. Okay, sorry, I said immutable, but that's a mutable. What we want to do is we want to create our list as a mutable list, so where we can add the data, we can remove the data later on also. Okay, so what I will do here, I will write names. First of all, I need to create a mutable list. So what I will do here, I will write mutable. I will just write MUT. So here I will get the suggestion mutable list of, and here I will write the data. Okay, so now I have created a mutable list, and I have how many records? We have 3 many records. Now if I want to add some more records, so I will write names dot add, and if I try to add the data, let's say I am adding Amit, and then if I try to print the list, so let's say if I try to print the list, I will get the complete record. Okay, so that means what? I am adding the data after it is created. Now it's not giving us an error, because I have created this list is a mutable list. By default, understand this, by default this list is always a immutable. You cannot add, you cannot remove, or you cannot update any data. But if you are making any list as a mutable, you can perform any number of operations in that list. Okay, so that's it about the list. Now we will discuss about the loops. As you know that loops are nothing but when you want to repeat certain instruction multiple times, at that time we require the loops. Okay, so how you can use the loops here? So let's say if I have this mutable list and I'm having the 3 values, and if I want to print all these 3 values, what I will do, I will use the loop. So if I am using a for loop, so you need to write the for, then you have to use the variable. So here the variable which I am using is a name, which will point in all the names. Okay, so here you need to write name in names. So what does this statement means? This name is pointing to all the elements of this name. Okay, so in the start, from where our loop start, this name will point to Rahul, then automatically this loop will be incremented, then this name will point to XYZ, then automatically this loop will be incremented, and then this name will point to the PQR. So this is the pointer which is going to traverse through all these elements. Okay, now if I want to print it, so I will write println and I will print name, because this name is pointing to the first location. Okay, so this name will have the first value. So this is the way you can use the for loop. So if I try to run the code, okay, so if I try to run the code, I will get all the 3 values, Rahul, XYZ and PQR. So all these 3 values I will get. So there is one more way you can use the loop. Let's say for example, if you want to print the values from 1 to 5, what I can do is for, let's say I in 1 dot dot 5. Okay, so I am writing like this, for I equals to, for I in 1 dot dot 5. It means what? Start from 1 and go to end till 5. Okay, so if I try to print it, println, if I try to print the value of I, what will happen? It will start with 1 and it will go up to 5. Okay, so if I try to print it, I will get the value 1 2 3 4 5. So this is the shorthand notation of writing the loop, where you can write the start index and you can write the end of the index. So till what time it should repeat. Okay, so this thing you can write in a for loop. Now if you don't want to go to 5, okay, so if you want to skip the last part, what you can do is you can use the until. This is the word you can use, what we can call it as a keyword which you can use, which will not go till the last position. Okay, so if I have for I and I want to print this 1 2 3 4 only, what I will do, for I in 1 until 5. So what it will give me the output, it will start with 1 and it will go up to 4. Okay, it will not consider 5 because we have used the until keyword here, so it will not go to the 5, it will go up to the 4 only. Okay, so this is how you can use the loops. Now we will discuss the most important point of any programming language, which is called as a functions. Okay, so functions are nothing but when you combine some similar set of instruction together, that we call as a function. Okay, so you can create a number of function inside the Kotlin. The main function is always going to be executed by the compiler. So the code which is having the main function will always get executed first. Okay, so if you want to create your own function, what you need to do is you just have to use fun keyword and then you can write the function name. So let's say I'm creating here a function as a display. Okay, now inside this function what I can do, I can write any of the statement which I want to do. So here I'm writing hello, I am inside the function. So this is the statement I'm writing here. Now how to call this function? What you will have to do is, in the main function what you need to do is you just have to write down display. So this function will call from main function, the display function will get called, and this display function will call this the body of this display function. Okay, so the output we will get is hello, I am inside this function. So you can create a number of functions. Let's say I am creating another function, the function name is show. So here I am creating function show, and here I am writing println, I'm writing I am in show function. Okay, so this is the line I am writing here, and after the display what I need to do is I want to call the show function. So I will write show here. So though two functions will be called, first display function will be called and then show function will be called. So this is the way you can call the function. Now you can pass the data to function also. Okay, let's say for example we have one function, the name of that function is display. Okay, and I want to pass some data to this display function. Okay, so let's say for example I am printing here hello welcome, and I want to pass this variable hello welcome, and let's say I want to print here the value. Okay, let's say I am passing here display, here I am passing Amit. Okay, this is the value I am passing. Now what I want to print is hello welcome Amit. This is the string which I want to print. Okay, so when I will call the function I will pass the value. Now here when we are calling the function display function, here we need to write the variable name which will store this value. Okay, as this value is nothing but the string, here I need to create a variable which will be a string. Let's say I am creating a variable name, and the data type of this variable is going to be the string. Now this string variable, let's say this name variable will have this value Amit. Okay, because it will be passed to these parameters. This is called as a parameter. Okay, so when I will pass Amit, this will be passed to this variable. Now if I want to print the value, what I need to do is I need to use the dollar sign. Okay, so here I will write dollar name. So this dollar name will have this Amit value, and when we are using the dollar name, this value will be printed here. Now let's just check. So I am running the code, I will get the output hello welcome Amit. So this is the way you can make use of the function, and this is how you do the coding in Kotlin. I hope this video has helped you to understand what are the fundamentals which are there in a Kotlin. Now I hope you all will do the practice and you will perform the Android applications. Okay, thank you for watching.